Tonight on 60 Minutes.
Struggling to make ends meet in Tsarist Russia, where all citizens are still bound by the ties of serfdom, Raskolnikov was a seemingly normal man. That is, until he recently confessed to the murders of the Ivanova sisters. Such brutal actions are both alarming and intriguing. Tonight we find out why he did it and how he justified it.
Eveline's husband Frank recently departed for South America, and she has since been spotted walking in circles around the town square. Many neighbors began to worry for her mental sanity as well as for the safety and well-being of their own children. A psychological evaluation has been requested, and we asked her to share the results with us.
He is the infamous statue in the center of town. Within his steel cage, the hunger artist sits quietly in the lotus position for weeks at a time without eating. Many locals are concerned by this practice and bring him delicious provisions in an attempt to convince to break his fast. However, regardless of the type of food or his inevitable hunger, he never accepts an offer. We want to know why.
In the past week, the kingdom has witnessed countless portrayals of treachery and deceit. Laertes left us for France, and it appears that Hamlet has gone completely mad. Furthermore, reports have surfaced stating that our very own King Claudius is responsible for the death of our previous beloved leader.
I'm Melanie Hollick.
And I'm Katherine Stevenson.
These stories tonight on 60 Minutes. Is murder always morally reprehensible? Is there such thing as a perfect crime? Raskolnikov, you recently confessed to the murders of the Ivanova sisters. Why did you choose them as your victims?
My choice was based on logic I had acquired from spending time with Aliana and observing the way she operates. She was an awful, distasteful woman. She stole from the poor. Her existence was not benefiting anyone. I believed that killing her would do the world more good than harm.
That's an interesting perspective. While that may be true, did you ever consider the moral ramifications? How do you live with yourself after taking someone else's life?
I viewed myself as a superman. I was educated and rational. I believed that I had the ability to completely separate my logical self from my emotional. However, I didn't realize that my being is dependent on both of these sides. The guilt for my actions made me physically sick. It was a perfect crime, except for my disregard for an integral piece of my identity.
You turned yourself in, is that right?
Yes, that's correct. With the help of the people that I'm closest to, I was able to see the error in my judgment. I now know that for society to run effectively, or even to run at all, a certain moral code does need to be in place. People can't decide they are above the fundamental laws that govern us all as human beings.
What's next for you, Raskolnikov?
I've been exiled to Siberia, but I plan for this experience to be the first in a new stage of my life. I'm beginning my rehabilitation into a moral norm of the world. I am grateful that I will not have to face this journey alone, and my steps will always be guided. Although I have made many mistakes in the past, I believe that my future holds promise. My life has been permanently affected by my choices, but they will not be the only things that define me as I begin to explore my spirituality and true identity.
Repetitious behavior, is it a sign of insanity or simply an unusual mannerism? Eveline, you've been walking in circles for quite some time now. Can you tell us why?
Well, after Frank left for South America, my world was uprooted. I personally don't deal well with change, and to calm myself down, I found it helpful to constantly perform the same activities. It is my belief that with defined structure and repetitious routine and comfortable sense of order can be established.
You mentioned that this psychotic episode was caused by Frank's departure. Why is it that you didn't leave with him?
I originally intended to leave South America with him. However, as soon as I set foot on the dock, I was paralyzed with fear. I hear the voice of my dying mother asking me to take care of my father and my brothers. I envisioned my aging father stumbling through our house, and I realized that I am always and always will be a proud citizen of Ireland. I can never leave.
You offer a unique perspective about what it means to be a citizen, and it concerns many of your neighbors. They recently requested that you visit a psychologist. What did he say?
The doctor said that I have been paralyzed by the normality of daily routines, and that I chose to walk in circles because I'm ultimately unaware of reality. I exhibit an extreme lack of imagination, and as a result, my personal identity is encompassed by an air of silences, pauses, and uncertainties. He used the metaphor that I am trapped in a maze and I must escape if I ever hope to find my true self.
In the future, do you think you will be able to break free from this labyrinth?
To be honest, I am uncertain about the future. I often
In the future, do you think you will be able to break free from this labyrinth?
To be honest, I am uncertain about the future. I often fantasize that I can escape my paralysis through adventure, but my desire to pursue such adventures has been hindered by the fact that I can rarely follow through with my personal convictions. Only time will tell what happens next.
We have with us tonight a woman whose talents are much different than any guest we've ever had. The hunger artist lives her life in a constant state of starvation. This is certainly a very unusual occupation. Why did you decide to become a hunger artist?
Well, I've never really found a food I like. I've tried things, but why eat if nothing satisfies you, right? I'm constantly hungry, and I used to be constantly searching for something that would satisfy my empty stomach. My search was unsuccessful, and I found a way to abstain from food altogether. Being a hunger artist is my escape.
Some seem to think that what you do is impossible, and that you must be getting food in the night somehow. How do you respond to those who think you're a fraud?
Anyone who thinks that I cheat at my profession is more than welcome to sit outside the cage 24/7 and monitor what I'm doing. I can't be too bothered with people who doubt. I'm more concerned with people who watch and admire. I crave attention, and even if someone is accusing me of something, they are acknowledging the feat that I accomplish every day.
Society has named you a hunger artist. Do you consider what you do an art form?
I know that what I do is very difficult and very taxing. It's a very extraordinary life to live when the person you're closest to is your agent, and they could leave at any moment. I see myself as an artist because this is how I express my hunger. I put it out there for people to watch and enjoy. People come from everywhere to see the hunger artist on his final week, his final day, his final meal after starvation. I'm a spectacle. I put on a show.
I see. How long do you expect you'll be able to be a hunger artist?
If I was ever to find a food that satisfies me, I would walk away and never look back. I hold on to some optimism for this scenario, but part of me knows that I will continue to starve until the day I die.
With the surfacing of recent reports, many are wondering how King Claudius went from a saint to a sinner virtually overnight. Claudius, please tell us how it is you became king.
Well, the late king was my beloved older brother, and after his untimely death, I was next in line for the throne. I took an adequate amount of time to mourn, and then I accepted my new responsibility as the leader of our nation. Some people like me are just meant for positions of power.
You mentioned your beloved brother. How do you respond to reports that state you are in fact responsible for his death?
Those reports are, well, absolutely correct. I am at fault for my brother's demise. However, I would like to say that I acted on behalf of the people. My brother, although loved, was an inadequate leader, whereas I possess the true talent as a leader. I have unique skills and talents, I like that word, that the average person could never understand. Our nation was much improved by the shift in power.
When you say you have unique skills and talents, what are you referring to in particular?
Well, I refer specifically to the fact that I am an excellent politician. I have the innate ability to use eloquent language and diction that puts others under a charming spell of character and charisma. I speak in a manner that allows me to pursue my own personal convictions, all the while maintaining the approval of my subjects.
How do you think your subjects will react when they find out the truth about the previous king's death?
I have an unbreakable bond with my subjects. I know I will have to tread lightly and allow them time to become comfortable with the idea, but I believe that they will understand and accept that I have acted in the best interests of my nation.